great that you have the opportunity to talk about Ninjago. Who are sitting next to me?
My name is Angel. I'm a graphic designer in Ninjago, and I've been allocated to this theme for around 4 to 5 years. So since the first Legacy launch.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a designer for for Ninjago, and I've been working here for in Ninjago for just over 3 years.
Okay, but have you ever been in childhood or started your career with Lego and Ninjago, or you're too old for this, perhaps?
No, I started working on Lego Boost originally. That's the first thing I worked on before.
But as a child?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Since I was 3, I wanted to be a Lego designer.
Okay. But there was not Ninjago in place in this.
No, it was Rock Raiders and Bionicle. I really like those two things. Okay.
Yeah. So what we see here, I think, is from our point of view when we are talking here, the future of Ninjago. Perhaps when we see this video, I think everything will be released. But perhaps can you shortly integrate or tell us what's this and what is this?
Yeah, so these first 2 sets represent our winter launch. So this will be coming out in 23 January, and this is the core wave. So this is not directly tied into any form of TV show or any form of content that we have. This is kind of standalone classic Ninjago stuff. And then over here we have 2 of the star models for the new Dragons Rising TV show, the new big Ninjago kind of reboot that we're doing for the summer.
And as you told us before, there will be, for the first time, new characters are coming normally, but it will focus on new characters. And the normal ninja are included, but they are not in the main focus. So I think that's really new after now 11 years of Ninjago.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was, it's of course hard to start a reboot and then not have any of the familiar faces there. So yeah, some of the ninja will be represented. I can't go into details which ones exactly, but some of them will be there. Lloyd, I can confirm.
I think what's funny is that this is the first time. So in 10 years now of having this story of Ninjago, every half a year or year new stories. I think it's difficult to have really different story elements, and now it takes so long to integrate new characters, new ninjas.
I mean, from my point of view, I think some of the characters became more prevalent. Like Lloyd was introduced as a new character during one of the earlier seasons, and then Nia became a ninja as well, and we have Pixel. So in that regard, it's slowly been increasing more, but we've never done a proper fast forward time skip where we swap in a whole bunch of new characters in. So I think that's pretty new.
Yeah. But also the new characters are bringing a possibility to do something new, right? To have this kind of recruitment process on how the new characters are going to be growing together with the ninjas and maybe hopefully one day becoming ninjas themselves, right? Because they look up for them. So it's kind of aspirational also for new kids maybe joining the show.
How is the procedure or the design process? We have 2 parts. It's the movies or the TV shows and the sets. You're working together. You are thinking together about how it can be the next chapter. Is the TV show doing the thing and you have to do the sets, or how is this cooperation?
Well, it is it is mainly us coming up with an idea and starting to kind of shape a little bit what we want for the year, and then we put things together with the TV show writers and the studio, of course. And there's a bit of back and forth, of course. They may need some characters or some assets that they think they're useful in the show, so we see how to integrate them, or the other way around. If we want to have something that we're very keen on product, we are also influencing them. So it's a collaborative process, I would say.
Yeah, I think generally the TV show is much more focused on character development. A lot of the specific things that they want to happen to the characters is very important for their process, for their writing, right? And often we settle on that quite early. This is going to be a Lloyd focus season, or this is going to be a Zane focus season. Once we have that in place, we kind of start on a high level with the concept. It's based on Forbidden Spinjitzu was the whole direction where we wanted to have focus on Kai and Zane, and we wanted them to have a specific power. So that kind of gave the initial concept for model design and direction as well.
So, but the decision, for example, we now make a story about Ninja Under the Sea,
yes,
is made by the TV show team, and then you think about what can be the vehicles and so on.
That one in particular started because we wanted a Nia focused season. Because we had a Zane one and a Kai one, and then we wanted to do one for Nia specifically, and that kind of made sense. We tested underwater stuff for a long time at this point, so we knew it was a viable option and people liked it, but it seemed like the right time to pull it out.
No, we normally have a few options on the table, of course, that we test with kids mainly, and whatever works best and makes sense story-wise, we pull forward, of course.
What is a lot of my viewers are realizing, and I think it's not a secret, that in every season you have a mech, you have a bike, you have a car, especially in the colors of the ninjas.
Yes.
Is there a framework to say, okay, we need every time a mech, we need a bike, we need a car, and every year, 2-3 years flying thing also, or is it natural coming?
I think we do a lot of toy first design, where we start off with a concept that we like, and then we a lot of times skin it. We try it as different ninjas, so we make a concept, and what if this was for this ninja instead? Generally, we get most positive response from kids for ninja things. They're not as excited by villains. They're often okay with just having a couple of minifigures and maybe some small conflict things, which is why we don't have large like villain focused sets that often. But when we do, we mostly do it because we have a really cool toy concept nailed down that we know we can get the kids excited about.
I would say that, of course, there's also some marketing inputs on the assortment, and the creative lead also sets the direction on where to go, and then we take it from there. Yeah.
It's very it changes quite drastically throughout the process. Like very often things get scrapped. Like our leadership says we have to do one less set, or we have to do one less of this, and then we have to kind of move things around. Often sets will get kind of combined into one, or things will just be pushed to the side, maybe for a later use. We have a large backlog of ideas that we like that we haven't found a spot for yet.
And also ideas for new mechs.
I mean, I'm a mech builder, so I have thousands and thousands of mech ideas.
Okay. But I think of this one, it was very interesting. You have a mech in a mech, or no? It's or a big figure inside. Yeah. That's I think cool and new, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we've done that specifically before. Nexo Knights have had kind of a mech inside of a mech before with Wizard Showdown, I think is the name of the set. It's like a blue mech with a smaller blue mech inside of it. But this is the first time we've kind of done this tandem piloting thing where you've got two mechs that kind of work together.
I think since 2 years now or so, you have another team here in the house that's Monkey Kid.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, it's different. Okay, there are no ninjas and not 5 and so on and so 6, 7. But from the overall topic, it seems a little similar. Are you discussing with them that there are no overlapping, or are you surprised what they are doing? Is there a special relationship to them?
I mean, of course, we talk. We are actually sitting
right next to them.
Exactly.
Like there's a cabinet in between us. And
so we, of course, talk about, okay, what are we going to have as bad guys, for example, or what colors are we going to be using so we don't overlap. But yeah, at the same time, we are, of course, drinking from the same sources in a way, right? So we have come to some iconic things that we keep for Ninjago, and they have come for some iconic things that they keep for Monkey Kid, I would say.
We get to make, like, because we were first, I guess, we kind of staked our claim with dragons specifically, which is something that we are very much focusing on in Ninjago right now. So it's, and in return, we don't do pigs. In return, we don't do pigs or horses or, yeah.
But is there also a plan that they say, okay, this year we make this and this, then you make this next year, and so there's not too much overlapping? Or is there someone in the house who's coordinating this, or are you doing this with each other in the small when you meet on the floor?
There's a role in design called head of product, and for us that's Nigel Kong. He's somebody that joined our team 2-3 years ago, and he oversees both Monkey Kid and Ninjago as head of product. So he has a pretty bird's eye view of what happens in both themes. And then a lot of the designers, like we share a lot of the same space. We even sometimes have designers move between themes, so we have a pretty clear communication with them about what they're thinking about doing, how they're thinking about approaching it. So I think our approach is very different, where they're very much market focused and we're more focused on like global.
You also have a different alphabet.
Yes.
So you have an alphabet where you can do a... That was also a question, if you really know, you both know the alphabet. Can you write in Ninjago City speech?
He's a graphic designer.
Yes, I've been working with the characters for quite a while, so I more or less can read it, definitely, yes. I try to, or tend to double check, because of course you can make mistakes, but
whenever packaging design comes up, the first thing I look at is if there's any jargon on it, and I'll make sure to check that. It's not that I can't read it by heart yet, because it's actually quite hard to figure out sometimes, especially because I know some of the logic that went into making it, and they ended up switching to last minute that are always messing me up.
Yes.
And so I can't read it by heart. I have my phone next to me when I check it. But there's some letters, of course, I can recognize by heart. But it's a tough one. It's not like I grew up with the Bionicle one. The Bionicle one is really easy to learn because it's all just abstracted letters inside circles, basically.
Okay. Also, a question of my community. A lot of people ask it. I think perhaps I know the answer, but a lot of people would like to see big Ninjago cities again. Like we have the gardens, so that last thing. Can you say something about the future of these kind of sets?
Sadly, no. Like we can't say anything about stuff that we're not showing right now or stuff that's on shelves. So,
but it's a different team. It was in the past. We can only talk about the task, or you also include. I know Markus Wollbühler is involved in the gardens.
The last one, and before it was Chris Stamp, who was then on the Ninjago team, and the one before that was Nicholas Voss, who at that point also was on the Ninjago team. None of these first two are on the team anymore, but it was always an in-house thing. It was always a thing that we did because it requires quite a lot of expertise and understanding of what the Ninjago aesthetic is.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. I think you need it for the gardens. So many references there. If you have no idea what to do, I think then you have a problem. Also, a question was: do you have a favorite ninja of your own? I think it's a question like, actually, perhaps you can hear it to get a lot of time.
My favorite character right now, based on a TV show, is Garmadon. Actually, really, what they did with Garmadon in the last season is fantastic. I really like it.
I think it's super fun, and I kind of agree.
Yeah. Okay. And after that, I guess I like Zane because he's a little bit weird, and I'm a little bit weird, so it checks out for me.
But I like Nia quite a lot, even though sometimes he's not been that much in focus, but I will root for her, definitely.
Okay. This topic and this setting is for children, so that's clear. My son is 5 years, and all in his kindergarten is the boys like Ninjago. Are there special things to look at, because you have weapons and so on? They are fighting against. So what's the difference to have in mind to produce this more for smaller children than having sets for older children or adults, when you have this topic of war is not the right word, but of fighting and so on? What you have to do there?
Well, it's very much about conflict, right? And that's something that we have had in LEGO themes for a long time. As far as younger kids, so core specifically is most of the sets are more focused towards younger kids because it's just about like the icons that you're used to from Ninjago, which is why we made a lot of new elements to make sure that the appropriate age mark can actually build it. So we made this like limb piece for the small mechs and these armor plates and stuff. So in that way, we kind of try and bring Ninjago to as low of a threshold as you can possibly get by making the sets simple and fun to build, while not taking away from any of the cool Ninjago aesthetic that we have with the blades and the shooters and everything.
Can you tell a bit what? Also, we will respect the embargo. So also you see
sometime in the future, people.
What will then be the next step here in the story, and what will be the special things of these sets?
So this is in between. This is in between the finale of Crystallize, which should come out in October sometime this year. So very far in the past, when people watching this video, they'll be like, Crystallize, it's old news.
Some remember the good old times, 2022.
Yeah. So these are kind of in between where we have adventures that could have happened some at any point during the Ninjago timeline with a new interpretation of the Skullkin. I don't know if you want to talk about them.
Yeah, no. For the bad guys, for example, we tried to find something quite iconic. You remember that we had snakes on the previous core launch, and now it's gonna be Skullkin, and yeah, also trying to keep the ninjas super iconic, the vehicles as well. Like we know what works at this point, like the mechs work, the dragons as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think the name. I think they ended up on Greenbone. So they're not technically Skullkin before anybody starts altering wiki pages somewhere. They we use the word Skullkin as our work title, but they are Greenbones. They're like a green Skullkin variant, I think. I don't know if they're actually going to show up in the TV show, because some of the core models will end up showing up in the TV show just because it's cool to see some of these things show up, but not all of them. So kind of it's a little nebulous there. And then over there we have kind of very much focused on the new season and new characters, where we have the ninja fighting against some of the warriors of the Imperium, and they are one of the new bad guys that appears in the very beginning of the new season.
When I see this, I think I see now, it looks a little bit more traditional Asian.
Yes.
Or Japanese than the old. I think for me the difference between Ninjago and Monkey Kid was more. Monkey Kid is more traditional themes and traditional optics, where Ninjago is the west side of these how we expect it, or it's a little bit more a mixture. This seems to be more. Normally I would expect this more, but for Monkey Kid.
Yeah, so this model was definitely one of the ones that we nailed latest in the process. It went kind of all over the place, and because we knew we wanted it to be a combination of an existing character and a new character kind of coming together. So it was kind of about finding the perfect mix of their aesthetics. And because Lloyd is taking on a new role as more of a mentor than a full main character, we wanted to have him in something that in Ninjago we associate with mentors. So we have the sandals, we have the hat, we have kind of a cloak, and then Aaron is like completely street. So he's got baggy pants, like his mech looks like it has baggy pants. It has kind of a hunch. It looks more sci-fi. So this set kind of combines both of those aesthetics. And in order to make that contrast high as possible, we made the Lloyd one as traditional as possible. It has full-on sandals, and it has little toes sticking out of the sandals, which I think is my favorite detail about the set.
Super nice, super nice. But if you think about it, in Ninjago we've always had these two sides, right? Like the very traditional Asian vibes combined with something a bit more sci-fi or high-tech look, right? And actually, I would say that we've done some traditional models before, like with the bounties, for example, or you think about Wu, for example.
Samurai X mech was one of my inspirations for this one as well, where it was it's made of like lots of like junk and wood and stuff as well. So
also the Temple of Aetsu is one of my favorite sets of Lego ever.
Yes.
Because of this.
Our mechs tend to be more sci-fi these days than classical, and this set was an attempt to try to kind of break that cycle.
When you started with designing these, how many years are between now? When we see this, it's summer 2023, and when was design start for this?
Was the end of 21, right?
Yeah, I think so. End of 21. No, was it mid 21?
Okay, but
somewhere in 21. Yeah.
So around.
And this one we started. 2 years then. We started on really early because the reboot requires us to basically rethink every part of our process, every part of our design, right? So we took a lot of abstract thinking about what is Ninjago and how can we move on from what we were and make something new. Which you can definitely see in those models more so than these, where these are still very much kind of pre-reboot Ninjago, and these are post-reboot Ninjago, if you will.
Okay, I think the time is over. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward what will happening in the summer and what will be then after this. So I think if I ask, will the story continue? If you do a reboot, I think I can remember what will happen, or I can think about, but I think you are not allowed to tell me what's the next step then. But perhaps we meet again next year. Then we can.
We're working far into the future, even to the future of what people are watching right now.
But it's so funny as the theme ended had an end after 3 years. Yeah. So that's very and as I said, my son and all his friends are so Ninjago fans, and they are. I think it's all over the world. So
That's great.
I think he would be nice for him to see this, but I'm not allowed to show him. So yeah, that's hard for a dad. Yeah. So thank you very much, and perhaps we meet again. Yes. So thank you.
Awesome, a pleasure.